September 3, 1939, London, United Kingdom. When Britain declared war on Nazi Germany following the invasion of Poland, few people fully understood how unprepared the nation was for the kind of air war that now loomed over Europe. The First World War had ended only 2 decades earlier, and memories of Zeppelin raids and primitive bombers still lingered. Yet the aircraft of 1939 were faster, heavier, and capable of delivering destruction on a scale never before experienced. British military planners knew that if Germany chose to attack from the air, the survival of the country itself could be at stake. Britain was an island, dependent on industry, ports, and civilian morale. A sustained bombing campaign could cripple production, break public confidence, and force surrender without a single soldier crossing the English Channel. In this precarious moment, an invisible technology, largely unknown to the public, stood between Britain and potential defeat. That technology was radar. The origins of radar stretch back to the interwar period, when British scientists began to confront a troubling strategic reality. By the early 1930s, advances in aircraft design meant that bombers could fly faster and higher than existing defenses could reliably counter. Anti-aircraft guns were inaccurate, fighter aircraft were limited by range and endurance, and visual observation alone was insufficient to provide early warning. Britain needed time to scramble fighters, time to prepare defenses, and time to decide where an attack was headed. Without early warning, any air defense system would be blind. In 1935, British physicist Robert Watson Watt demonstrated that radio waves could be used to detect aircraft at a distance. This was not an entirely new idea, but Watson Watt's work proved that it could be applied on a practical, national scale. Aircraft passing through radio waves caused measurable reflections, allowing operators to detect their presence long before they were visible to the human eye. Recognizing the military potential immediately, the British government moved quickly to fund development. What followed was one of the most important but least visible defense projects of the entire war. Along Britain's eastern and southern coasts, a chain of tall steel towers began to rise. These installations, known collectively as the Chain Home Radar System, were spaced carefully to provide overlapping coverage. Each station transmitted radio pulses out over the North Sea and English Channel, then listened for echoes. When aircraft crossed the waves, operators could determine their approximate distance, direction, and altitude. By 1939, Britain possessed the world's first fully integrated national radar defense network. Crucially, radar did not operate in isolation. It was embedded in a broader command and control system designed to turn information into action. Data from radar stations was transmitted to Fighter Command headquarters, where it was plotted on large maps. From there, orders were sent to individual airfields, directing squadrons to intercept incoming raids. This system allowed Britain to use its limited fighter resources with remarkable efficiency. Instead of keeping aircraft constantly airborne, a strategy that would exhaust pilots and machines, fighters could be launched only when and where they were needed. When Germany turned its attention westward in 1940, this system was about to face its greatest test. On May 10, 1940, German forces invaded France and the Low Countries. Within weeks, Allied defenses collapsed. By June, France had surrendered, and the British Expeditionary Force had barely escaped through Dunkirk. Now Britain stood alone. Adolf Hitler believed that Britain could be forced to negotiate if its air power was destroyed and its cities terrorized into submission. The task fell to the German Luftwaffe, which prepared to eliminate the RAF as a prelude to a possible invasion. The Battle of Britain began in earnest in July 1940. German strategy was based on overwhelming force. The Luftwaffe possessed more aircraft than the RAF and believed that sustained pressure would wear down British defenses. However, German planners made a critical miscalculation. They assumed that Britain's ability to respond depended primarily on the number of aircraft it could field. They underestimated the importance of Britain's detection and coordination system. German intelligence was aware of radar installations but did not fully understand how deeply integrated they were into British air defense. As a result, early German attacks focused on ports and shipping rather than systematically destroying radar stations. For ARF pilots, radar changed the experience of combat in profound ways. Instead of patrolling blindly, hoping to encounter enemy aircraft, pilots were briefed with precise information. They knew where enemy bombers were coming from, at what altitude, and roughly how many. This knowledge reduced fatigue, increased morale, and improved combat effectiveness. Pilots could climb to the correct height before engagement, conserving fuel and gaining tactical advantage. Civilians, too, felt radar's impact, even if they never saw it. Air raid warnings became more reliable. Sirens sounded with enough notice for people to seek shelter. Though bombing raids were still devastating, the sense that attacks came without warning diminished. The population understood that Britain was not defenseless, that there was a system in place watching the skies. As the battle intensified in August 1940, German bombers increasingly targeted airfields and aircraft factories. Losses mounted on both sides. The RAF was stretched thin. Yet radar allowed Britain to absorb these blows without collapsing. Fighter Command could rotate squadrons, concentrate forces against the largest raids, and avoid being drawn into wasteful engagements. Every German raid was detected. Every major movement across the channel was tracked. One of radar's most significant contributions was its ability to reveal German intentions in real time. When large formations assembled, British commanders could see patterns emerging, feints, diversions, and main attacks. This situational awareness prevented the Luftwaffe from achieving surprise, a cornerstone of successful air operations. German pilots, by contrast, often flew blind into heavily defended airspace, unaware that British fighters were already climbing to meet them. By September 1940, Germany shifted tactics, turning its attention from ARF airfields to British cities in what became known as the Blitz. While this caused immense civilian suffering, it also relieved pressure from Fighter Command. Radar continued to function, guiding night fighters and informing civil defense. The failure to neutralize radar early in the campaign became one of the Luftwaffe's most consequential mistakes. The Battle of Britain officially ended in October 1940. Britain was not defeated. In fact, Germany had suffered losses it could not easily replace. Hitler postponed indefinitely any plans to invade the British Isles. For the first time in the war, Nazi Germany had failed to achieve its objective. Radar played a central role in this outcome. The consequences extended far beyond Britain's survival in 1940. By remaining in the war, Britain became a base for future Allied operations. It served as a launching point for strategic bombing campaigns, intelligence operations, and eventually the D-Day invasion. Had Britain fallen, the course of World War II would have been radically different. The United States would have faced a hostile Europe across the Atlantic, and the Soviet Union might have stood alone against the full weight of German power. Radar technology did not stand still after the Battle of Britain. Throughout the war, it evolved rapidly. New systems were developed for night fighting, naval warfare, and submarine detection. Airborne radar allowed bombers to navigate and target in darkness and poor weather. Ground-based radar guided anti-aircraft fire with increasing accuracy. At sea, radar helped close the gap against German U-boats, reducing the deadly effectiveness of submarine warfare in the Atlantic. The human impact of these developments was profound.
Sailors who once relied on visual sightings now had warning of approaching threats. Aircrew flew missions knowing they could be guided home. Ground crews worked around the clock maintaining equipment that rarely appeared in headlines but saved countless lives. After the war, radar became one of the most enduring technological legacies of World War II. It transformed civilian aviation, weather forecasting, maritime navigation, and air traffic control. The same principles that once detected enemy bombers now guide commercial aircraft safely across the globe. What began as an urgent wartime necessity became a foundation of modern society. Yet radar's greatest historical significance